Saw shop, where you bring in a rock, you'll have monitors that will assist you in cutting the slabs, and depending on the size of the rock, you'll come out with a slab, whatever thickness you choose. Once you have these slabs, then the world's at your biscuit. You can do whatever you want to it. Making cabs is real popular. So one of the first things you do is, once you've got your ovals marked out on there, we're going to try to trim away some of the waste material on the outside of the oval. And the trim saws, there's one inside and there's one outside. And that's what these are here. They're hand motivated. I encourage you, particularly when you start getting used to rocks and are doing more rocks that are harder, let the saw do the cutting. It takes some patience. You just realize you're all retired and you got all the time you need. Just let the saw cut through the material. Also, both saws, you'll see a jug of appears to be water by them. This is water with what is called crystal cut. We'll take care of that. You don't have to know that. It's not going to be on the test. But there's crystal cut in this, and crystal cut is put in here to keep the blade from rusting. But it does, as natural, of course, the water does keep the blade lubricated. So there's a switch in the back here, off and on. The blade will not touch you. Hold my finger on the blade. You're not going to touch it. Don't be afraid of this saw.
That's like goes against everything you've ever been taught.
Right. But if you come up and feel the saw with it off,
That's what we did that last year.
right, and put your finger on it, you realize that this doesn't have diamonds on the ends. There's actually more diamonds on the sides of it that's coated on both sides. Okay? So, your worst damage you can do to yourself is with these grinders. When you're grinding and polishing, you grind and polish your fingers. Oh, here's our two new members. Hello. Ginger and Greg. Welcome to the class. We're just getting started. Everybody was getting a stone or two from the pilot here. We have templates around. I'm encouraging everybody to use the oval, the big ovals, a little tiny. So help yourself. There's pins around. And that's about as far as everybody got. So you haven't missed a thing.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Now there's thin ones and there's fat ones.
So what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend going towards the thicker ones if you want a dome.
Okay.
If you want a flat surface on top,
How,
a lot of times pins will be flatter.
how thick?
How thick? Generally 3/8 of an inch is a good thing to look at.
Okay.
Our saws out here, we measure them by the amount of cranks. Once you put a rock in there, they'll run the rock up to the edge of the saw, and then it's how many cranks? 1, 2, 3, and you get that like 7 cranks. We'll give you 3/8, so that's 7 cranks is what you do.
How long did it take you to figure that out? I'm impressed.
Well, I've been here about 15 years, and I just learned it this morning. Yeah, go ahead and take it with you over your table. Did you?
Just give me
Will our Sharpie lines be ground away and disappear?
Yes, eventually it will, so not to worry. If you do get a rock you like and you get a Sharpie line on it and it just, you don't like it, you got 2 choices. You can bring them over and polish the black line off, or we generally will have a can of acetone, fingernail polish remover, around acetone takes that line off.
Okay.
So I'll just start to explain about the tools we're going to be using this evening to make it. And I was just going through the trim saw, explaining that it won't cut you, it won't bite you. Also about keeping it lubricated. If you turn it on and you don't see water spraying up on it, you know it needs some. Just grab the jug, which should be in its perimeter, pour some water in it, maybe a cup. Try it again. If it sprays water, you're good to go. Okay? And that's going to be taking your cabs, and you're going to be cutting your excess material off with the trim saw. Now you don't have to get exact, you don't have to get real close or anything. You don't want to get too close because you can cut through your line real easy with that. But you're just going to try to get the majority of the way to save yourself some work. Once we've done that,
It's all straight cuts, right?
yes ma'am,
Straight cuts.
yeah,
Okay.
straight cuts. Once we've done that, you're going to take that cut piece of stone over here. We have got 2 wax pots, and they're on, and the tops of them are hot. You want to put that cab upside down on top of that. There's a little black ring around here with green wax in the center. What you're trying to do is heat up your rock. We're going to use dob-sticks so that you can hold on to that rock while you're grinding on it, okay? So you keep your fingers out of the way. It's also a little more maneuverable. Some people will find with some of the cabs that they like to do it without a dob-stick, and that's fine too. But tonight we're going to use dob-sticks. So the dob-stick process is put your cab on here, leave it on here for about 3 minutes, and then, like I said, it's upside down. Put it down on the towel. You'll swirl this into the wax. Get a little bit of wax on it, like that, a good little bud. Put it on top of the stone and press it into the stone with your thumbs. It's warm, but it won't burn you. Let it cool off a little bit, maybe a minute. You can take it over to the water over there, gently pour some cold water on it, that hardens the wax further. Then you're ready to start grinding and polishing. Now, inevitably, and tonight will be no different, people will be grinding and polishing and their stone will fall off. There's good reasons for that. The first and number one reason is your rock has oil in it. When you take a rock out of these saws, which has got mineral oil, and it's been cutting on it for half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, and you bring it in here and you cut a chunk out of it and you try to put wax on it, it's got a coating of oil on it, and that oil is permeated into the stone. My suggestion is cut your slabs, take them home, get some Dawn dishwashing liquid, put it in a pan, get some hot water, and then put the rocks into the Dawn dishwashing liquid and leave them overnight. That Dawn is really good with releasing that oil from the rock. Rinse them real well, dry them, and then 9 times out of 10, you've solved that problem. Also, maybe you didn't leave the rock on there hot enough. Maybe it's a larger rock, and you only left it on there 90 seconds. That would cause the dob-stick to fall off. Also, not using your thumb pressures around the edges of the wax, that will cause it. So, it's pretty simple once you understand a couple of the rules. Once we're done, and you've got your gemstone polished, and you're ready to put it into a ring, or whatever you're going to do with it, and you want this dob-stick off with this wax off because it doesn't really look that good, you can't get it on your finger, take it over to the freezer here. Put it in the freezer for about a minute or 2. The freezer will chill that wax, the stone will just pop right off.
Oh,
Questions?
yes, wait. I do. When you said you put it in upside down, which,
Well, that would be your top side there. The reason it's upside down is you're going to be polishing this on the back. That way there, when you're grinding, you'll see where the circle is. Okay? That's the reason for that.
I wouldn't know.
If you want to grab a stone and a template and make an oval with one of these felt pins, like people have done here, we're just getting started, so I'm just talking, not doing anything.
Thank you.
Your name?
Esther.
Esther. Yeah, welcome to the class. And you want to have a seat at the table, you're welcome to join us at the table. Okay, so the last thing about dob-sticks, and then I'll move on, is once you are done, and and you're left with a stick with a glob of wax on it and no stone. We have vicious looking pliers over here, and they won't hurt you though. But it is for popping that wax back off your stick. And that wax goes back into that tub, it gets melted, it gets reused, and we recycle, which is a great thing. Okay. After you got your dob-stick on there firmly and you're ready to grind away, thanks to my help here, we put some 100 grit belts onto the grinders for you, so everybody's going to have a good opportunity tonight to grind their stone. Our belts are available. You buy your own for the shop, and they come in different grits. They have 100, 220, 400, 600, 800, 1000, and 1200 grit. So it progressively gets finer grit, progressively polishes more and more. Here in a couple of months, I hope to have cabs in here I can show everybody, but some lady borrowed them for some library thing. So anyway, but tonight we're only going to work with 100 grit. We're not going to make a gemstone tonight, but we are going to make a fun little, and this is going to get you started tool making. As you progress, you can buy your belts. When you buy a belt, take a black belt pin, write your name inside of that belt, and also put the date in there. You'll be surprised if you do this, how you gather a large quantity of belts and all of a sudden you're looking at, well, which one did I just buy? So, some of those that get up into 800 to 1000, you can't feel the grit on them. All of them feel like they've been used up already. But there's a world of difference between a new and a used. Belts. We've got them on a bunch, like I said. These are the belts. These are expanding drums. These expanding drums are rubber. That little curves in this, that wheel spins, it blows out and holds this belt in place. Anytime you use these, and I'll show you here. This one you had trouble with, I can show it now.
No, stay away from that.
The belt. Was there a question? The belts will slide off. You have to take the tops and the side off, and then the belts merely, you wiggle them off by turning and pulling. And with a bit of patience, they will eventually come off, and you'll be just exposed forever at that point. Never ever leave the saw in this shape. What happens, this is black, and it looks just like here. Somebody may be coming through here real quick and they got a little jagged edge on a rock. They just want to grind that edge down because they don't like it. They stick it into that rubber. That's $100 and some wheel that they just destroyed. So the rule here is in the shop, every time you put on or you use these machines and you take the belts off, there's always belts hanging, and put one of those back on again. That way, should somebody put a rock in there, you've got something to protect that wheel. This is one of the belts we'll be using tonight. It's 100 grit. You'll pass that around. And it's pretty aggressive. With the stone, you'll be able to grind down fairly fast. The stuff we're using is marble, which is the green, and onyx, which is the other one. Onyx is found here in Arizona, north of Phoenix on Highway 17 up at Mayer. Right at the top of the plateau is a little tiny town up there. It's got a big onyx pit, and they've been generous with the club over the years, providing us with onyx. Because it is so soft, I encourage people not to use these other wheels. These are diamond wheels. They will grind the onyx real well, but unfortunately what happens on these soft stones is they can fill up the grit on those. We do have grit cleaners, but it's a shame to be wanting to work your stone and then all of a sudden it isn't grinding any longer. And what's happened is that soft material has got down in between your cutting edges and filled it in some. But we'll be putting for tonight anyway, we'll just be using the 100 grit. I'm not gonna have you take off and put on belts, that takes a little bit of time. But if anybody needs or wants to do that, I'll take the time to work with them with that. There's also, every day we're open, there's 1 or 2 monitors within the shop. Monitors are here for you. You come in, you don't quite understand, you have a question or a doubt, ask the monitor. They're always really great for help. A great bunch of people volunteer to help, and they will help you with these. So, with all of these grinders throughout the place, we have water, and that's what lubricates. There's main water valves. That's one here. It's back here in this corner. It's just a T valve. Each machine has their own little water, and at the end of this is another one. We like water shutoffs here. So for this particular thing, there's 3 things you got to turn on to get the water to that. You got to turn the valve on here, which is usually turned on in the morning and left on. But if you're not getting water, check it. Then check your valve here to make sure you got water to your lines. And then lastly, you got water right here. Never run these things, grinding and polishing, without water. Okay? It'll destroy your stone, it'll destroy the grit of the machines. It's not good for them. Over here is a valve for the water, and that's for these going down this row here. There again too, you see these machines have valves on the top, valves over here, and lo and behold, we've got another valve here. So we're valve happy over here. So if you're not getting water, just take a breath and follow your little water line. You'll eventually find something shut off in there. When you get done with the machine during the day, say you come in here at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock and you're grinding and polishing, you shut down the machine, turn the water off at the machine itself. At the end of the day, the monitors will come by and they shut the waters off on the ends and make sure it's all shut down. So we're not real concerned about you having to shut all of them valves back down again. Once they're turned on in the morning, we usually leave them on for the most part, except for the particular wheel you're using. No problem with shutting it down back there. It's just, if you miss it, you go home, don't let it keep you up at night. All of these machines, the trim saws, the grinders, polishers, and the saws outside. When you're done grinding and polishing, you want to clean it up for the next person. You want to clean it to the point where if you was to walk up to it with a rock, you would have to fight through their mess that they just left. Water on the floor, water on the table, grit all over in the pans. So we have a lot of sponges here for all of these machines. We have buckets. You'll find out tonight, water goes everywhere. There's a lot of water. It's a great summer thing to do. But when you get done, you've also got a lot of water. There's mops right here in the corner. If you do get mop up water on the floor, it's a safety concern. Give the floor a little sweep with the broom. But especially with these countertops, it's really important to take your sponge, bring your bucket over, squeeze it out in the bucket, try to get the much water out of these if we can. We're having trouble with them already buckling and such. It's just an ongoing problem. And then you would wipe out in here too with your sponges. With the trim saw, there's usually a little plastic scraper. There you go. This little thing here, you'll find these out throughout the store, or throughout the shop. And they're for a number of reasons. This one here, when you cut the gutter, you'll have a lot of chipped pieces and grit. You can scrape it right in. There's a hole right in here. You can also scrape it over the blade, and it falls down into the tub. It sinks to the bottom, it doesn't hurt the next person. And then you'll generally find a rag around here, and then that'll give you your final wipe down on this, where like I said, the next person coming has a good clean surface. If you've got grit, dirt chunks on there, 32nd of an inch, and you lay a flat rock on that and it's underneath and you're trying to cut and that's vibrating, chances are good you're gonna break your rock. So anytime you get a rock that I'm working with that is, I wanna make sure I don't break it, I wipe this down each time I make a cut. That way there it lays flat and cuts. How we doing so far? Questions?
You put the X on the stone before or after we trim them?
Well, we're gonna put the X on the stone right about now.
Oh, all right.
All right. So there again, big black felt pins. And what we're gonna do is, let me grab this here and I'll give you a design. We're gonna make a cross in this, and I'm gonna explain why we're making a cross in this. You've got your oval already on your stone. That's a heck of an oval, okay? What you want to do, the biggest problem people run into making a cabochon is they start and end up with a flat spot on the very top. I've got a diagram right here to show that. When you look at their cab from the side, you'll have a bevel here, you'll have a bevel here, but it'll be flat on top. What you're looking for is a cab that is nicely rounded. And until you can make that nicely rounded cab, you haven't made a cab yet. You made a partial cab. There's also a shoulder on this, as you can see. That is for people who are, so you're gonna put a silver band around it, or you wanna wire wrap it, that gives you a little shoulder. The shoulder is really easily done by putting your rock on a flat surface, putting the pin down, running your rock along there, and you can see that you've got a line. So it's usually, a quarter of an inch or less than a quarter of an inch, probably an eighth of an inch on this type of a slab is what you want to leave. When you got that on there, saying that this is already ground out, okay, I've already got myself an oval now, I'll stop, put this edge on there. When I start grinding here, and I'm grinding around, I'm always watching this line. When I ground down to that line, I know I can't grind there any longer, I need to grind on the top. Which brings up getting your stone, and you're gonna try to find the center of your stone. And then make a line through it where you've got a big X. That didn't work out too well, but anyway, the closer you can come to the center, the better it'll be. You want a straight edge or something? Oh, you're looking, Ernie, you're doing good. Just once you got those on there lightly, then put them in dark. Okay, so what we're gonna want to do is make that dark now. Real bold. We don't want any skimpy, wimpy lines on ours, okay? Whoops, I'm not doing that real well, but shaky hand. So everybody should have a cross in theirs by now. This cross is for once you start grinding your bevel on the edges. Everybody understand what a bevel is? Bevel is the edge that you're going to start to do the rounding. You're going to watch that X. And as you're grinding away on that, turn it up and look at it. If you got this X is right in the middle, which this one is not, but say it was, and you're only showing a little bit on one side but a whole lot on the other, what's that telling you? This side over here needs more ground away. This one has, leave it alone for a little bit. Otherwise you're gonna have a lopsided. If you can grind those down, all four of them, where they're all four the same length, keep grinding and keep grinding. They get smaller and smaller. Once you get down to where it's a point, what you've done there is you completely beveled it. And it should be concentric all the way around. So does everybody have that on theirs now? So I think what we're gonna do now is Mike's gonna assist me. We've got a trim saw right outside the door. And we're gonna go out here on this saw, I will help on his one. Mike will help outside. And we're gonna try to get some of that waste material. As soon as you're done cutting, bring your stone over and put it on a wax.
And it's your lucky day, you don't have to clean the trim saw. Right this way.
Ready to get started?
Sure.
Okay, let's start with just a matter of time.
Yep.
All right, so do that now, and do tonight.
Yes.
All right, go away.
Anybody not use the trim saw before? Okay.
I'm gonna use it here.
Basically, here's your on-off over here. Like you said, it's just like dripping a little water, which it does, step right out. Now, the key to it is, it does not make curved lines. Straight only. So you're just basically, get off that,
Yep.
take off that.
Little section.
Yeah, it don't have to be perfect because the grind will cut it off quickly.
Alright.
What do you want?
Just one hand?
Both hands. Don't matter.
Good? Like that?
Yeah, now see here?
Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt you.
Oh, okay. So again?
Even though I know that, but you know what, too,
Now, what I would do here at this point, I would just try to knock off this point here.
Okay.
At other times, you can go ahead and grind it around there closer, but because we have a limited amount of time, I just
Okay,
knock off the
okay.
big ones.
We gotta go
and-
quick. Okay, got it. Okay.
I didn't either. And you got the stick glued on, you just gotta make these lines go away equally.
able to get anything out of there?
Try it, baby. It's really hard. I just burnt the food out of it.
It's not melting real easily here.
So much be better.
Well, that's what I'm going to look at to see if that's it's getting more. Okay.
Comes off my
I'm going to assist it.
Okay.
I'm going to grab more.
And in the water?
Yep, in the water.
For how long do you think? Good to go?
Should be.
Thank you.
Yours is having a problem.
Isn't it? It's me. I'm not arguing for asking. Ooh, that's a good cloud, girl. Feels so loose.
Get in there. We are not having good luck.
Here we are.
Something out of it on Saturday.
I think it's looking good.
Supposed to take it all the way down to the line, you think? Probably, okay? I'll ask.
I don't have that answer.
So you can hold it like that, now turn your stone around.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So you can see your line on here, and you can go around and improve that line sound. So as you start grinding your bevel on here, you're going to be watching these lines, keeping them, and even though it's not around, you're going to be keeping those same distance, well, all the time watching here.
Don't fall below there.
Show you how much on the shoulder.
Okay.
Once you have ground down to here, all the way around, and this is just a little dot, you've got it. You've got gemstone.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then continue to work. See already the bevel you got on there? Turn that all the way around and continue to work that bevel. Watching your line. As that grows, that grinds up. Farther up in there, these lines will get shorter. You're grinding up here. Watch this line.
I love this water. Yeah, this is great.
Now that is nice. You can see your lines in here.
Yeah.
You're doing really good with those lines. That's going to be a pretty cab when you're done. So just continue to work that down,
Okay.
trying to achieve a little dot in the center.
Okay.
You're doing great. You're a rock star.
Thanks.
I have a question though.
Yes.
So when I look at it, the goal when I'm at the end is to not have that kind of defined ridge, right?
So try me again. Sit.
So when I look in the light, I can kind of see a ridge.
No.
The goal is to not have a ridge, right?
Correct. It's going to have a rounded surface. But if you want,
I mean, I got it pretty
will
good.
be rounded here. If you want one
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
do you?
Yes.
Come with me.
Should I turn this off or is anyone waiting for one? Okay.
Right off, lay it down. Take your tilt in.
And flat.
Hold it down, whatever thickness you want,
Yep.
and just start making your line
All the way around.
all
Okay.
the way around. That way there,
I kind of eyeballed it.
yeah. Well, you can do that too if you like, but you get
You
a pretty
can
good
see
line.
now, yeah.
And so what you're looking at, you're watching these lines shrink. You're watching this line so it doesn't shrink.
Right. But like right now, I'd want to come down on this side where it's higher than that side, right? Or no?
Yeah, your oval is, you can see that it,
Yeah.
you need to take off more right here. Sure.
Right.
And you've done pretty good up in here.
Okay.
It's just this area here you want to take
Yep.
more.
Okay.
You go.
Thanks.